Hello friends, welcome to ASP.NET tutorial. In this video, we will see how to create profile information for the logged in user. So we already talked about the database, and in the database there is a table called profile, and we will see how to store some user profile specific information into this table. Now let's proceed. So this is the last part of this sub-series. Here we are going to see how to store user profile information in the relevant database table. Alright. Now we know the basics required for user profile information. Now let's go to the demo. So now we are inside our web application. First thing what we have to do is we should go to Web.Config, and here if you see there is a profile section, right? We already have a profile section, and under this profile section we need to add information specific to the profile. So let's add properties under this profile section. Providers we already have, so let's go with properties. So under properties we are adding two name value pair. Here if you see we are adding name as one of the profile information, then age as one more profile information. Then we specify the type. Name is a string, age is also a string. So it is also possible to perform grouping of property. So for that we can add group, right? Then we can specify name for the group. So let's have contacts as the group name, right? Here we have group, name is contacts. Then we can add some properties in this contacts group. So name is email, phone, fax, and we specify the string for all this. So here we just defined the schema for the profile information. Previously we have profile, but we doesn't fill anything for the profile, right? As part of this login control example, we just had the providers only. Now we are adding the properties under the profile. That means in the underlying database, right? Now we are telling what needs to be stored, right? By defining the section here in the Web.Config. We've opened the Web.Config. Then under the profile we added the properties, and under the properties we provided the name value we have been provided. We will create those values dynamically and store. So here we just provided the name and data type, right? We also used the group. Alright, so web.config side is over now. So now let's view this default. I'm running the site. So when we go to default, it is saying user logged in, right? Let me click on navigate to login.aspx. Alright, here also it is saying user logged in. If I log out and visit the default, Okay, that's an error. We need to look at the previous example. We will log in again using the test user. Now we will go back to login. Right now it shows that logout. That means the user is logged in. So in the default page, we need to add some generic information. So this is our div tag, right? User logged in. So we just kept a static label. That's why it is always showing user logged in. So here we are providing some informative text. In real world, based on your website activity, profile information will be gathered and stored. But this example asks you to feed this information. I'll just run this once again. Okay, so we are already inside the form, right? So we can even move this outside of the form. So some informative text, so let it be part of the body. So inside the form, we will place some control here. Right? We have a ASP label, then we have ASP text box, and the label reads name. To collect the name, we are having a text box. So these are all part of the registration itself, but we want to store these in the profile information and see how, as already told, the website will gather and store the information. Right? Here we are doing that based on the user action. So text box, this is for collecting the age. Next, we will have information for contact. If you see, based on our Web.Config file, here we are forming the server-side controls. So contact, we just kept some heading, then we have the label control. Here we are collecting the email. After that, phone, we are collecting the phone in the text box. This is fax, collecting the fax information in the text box. Alright, we will save this content and reload this page. Right, now it is showing some server-side control. You can feed the information and try to store that into the profile DB. So we will have a submit button. As already told, in real world, website will collect this information based on your browsing history and store that against your profile. And the name, age, all those stuff, it will take from the registration information itself. Alright, now we will go ahead and add a submit button. Right, so we added the submit button as well, and this is simply some line breaks. Let's save the content and reload the page again here. Okay, here the error message is talking about the btn submit click, right? So we haven't yet implemented that. Since I copy pasted the code, this error is coming. All right, now we will close it and go to the design, right? This is the store profile, right? Now we will go to property and implement the click event. Now we have btn submit click. So to make use of the profile specific stuff, we need a namespace from system web profile, right? We want to use profile base class, right? So that's why we are including this namespace. Let's save the content. So here in the submit click, first we need to check the status of the user. Here we are checking user.identity.is authenticated. So this will tell whether user is authenticated or not. Let's check this first. We will save the content and we will keep a breakpoint and we will run it. So this is the default, right? Before that, to check that, we will visit the login page. So since it states logout, that means user is logged in. Let's go to the default and click on the store profile. We will reach here and go for step over. It states that login success. That means the user is already logged in, right? Now what we can do, we can go back to the login page, right, and click on this logout button. Then we will visit the default again, right, and click on store user profile, and it states that login success is false. That means now we know the status of the user, whether user is logged in or not logged in. So this is how the profile storing will work. So when a website is tracking the user, it will check whether the user is anonymous user or actually a logged in user. If it is a logged in user, then it starts collecting the browsing history or tracking the user to know his or her interest. So once these informations are collected, next time when the browsing session happens from the same login user, relevant information will be displayed based on the past browsing histories. So if login is not success, let's go to the source. Here we have a label, right? ID is label 1. Let's go to design view and select this. We will change the ID as LBL status. Now let's go to the click event of this. So if a login is a success, it will come to the else portion. There we will perform storing the profile information. But for now, if login is not success, it will say you are not logged in, right? Visit login page to login. So we can even create the link page here and show that. But to make this example simple, let's just display this message and we will run. So when we visit the page, it is saying user logged in, right? So when I click store profile, it is saying you are not logged in. It will be good if we display this status even beforehand, or as part of this default.aspx, we can remove this text content. So now in the else part, we can write code for storing the profile information. Right, so this is the else portion. So I pasted the code and let's see what is going on. So here from HTTP context current profile, we are getting the ProfileBase class. To use this ProfileBase class, we included the namespace system.web.profile, right? HTTP context, and from there we are getting the property current, right? This will tell the current user and profile. So we are getting the current profile and we are having this as the profile here, ProfileBase, right? Next, we are filling the profile, and here we are taking profile dot set property value pname. Pname is coming from here, right? Age, and if you look at email, how we are getting it, since there is a group for email, we need to put contact.email, contacts.phone. Likewise, we can access those properties, right? And in our web page, we have relevant fields, right? Text name, text age, text email, text phone, text fax. If you want to see text name, text age, text email, text phone, and text fax, right? So all those web server control, here we are accessing and setting the property value. So here, since we have the ProfileBase class, we take that ProfileBase class and fill this information. The ProfileBase will read the Web.Config file and knows what are all the information or profile specific information. This is the profile section, right? So inside the profile section, we have two groups. One is providers and another one is properties. So using the ProfileBase class, we are accessing this property and setting the value that is fed by the user by using this control. So as already told here in this paragraph, this information will be collected on the fly and updated. So usually the website will not ask the user, it will calculate based on the user tracking or tracking the user action in the website. Say for example, when user frequently browses for a specific author in the music CD, then in the ProfileBase it will fill that specific content. That means during the web design itself, people will put a property like add name equal to music genre first preference, music genre second preference, music genre third preference. Likewise, it will keep the entry here, and based on user browsing experience and which specific author user is frequently visiting, the content will get filled here, right? Finally, we have collected information, right? Here we are manually collecting it, but in real world it will be collected based on the user page visiting and navigation. Then we need to save the profile stuff. So profile.save, right? User profile information will be saved into the database by calling this function. After saving the information, we are setting all the fields as empty. Alright, now we know a way how to store the profile information into the database. Now let's go to the page load, and in page load we are checking whether this is a post back. And here if you see how we are using the HTTP context current profile, the same way here we are using HTTP context current profile. Then we are displaying the user specific information by reading the property values, right, when the page is loading. Now let's run this. Right, we will fill the information, name as test user 1, age is 27, some number here we are storing. Alright, so store profile. Before clicking that, let's go here and execute this table, and you can see there is nothing in this table. Now let's click store profile. User not logged in, that means we need to go to login page and log the test user. Test 1 2 3. Right, so now it is landing to the default page, and we filled the default page to collect further user information. Let's fill this test user stuff and store the profile. Right, profile information is stored and this is left empty. Now if we go back, we will be in the login page. Let's refresh it, and when we execute, you can see the user profile information is collected. Now let's go ahead and register one more user. This time I am using sample user. Password we will use the same, test 1 2 3. Confirm password, test 1 2 3. Email, let me use ABC 1 2 3 and XYZ 1 2 3. So create user. From here, when we click continue, we should have redirected it to the default. For now, let me directly do that. Let's go to the default.aspx, or what we can do, we can go to login page and log in with the current. So log out and log in with the sample user. That's the user, I guess. I forgot it. Let me. So one is test user and another one is sample user. And here let's use test 1 2 3 and click on login. So this time we are collecting profile information for a different user. Let me put sample user, age 66, email, phone. Let me put some phone here. Store profile. So if you see, we have two profile information. Now I have to relaunch it again. Let's go to the login page and log out. Then we will log in with the test user. And before that, you can see here in the profile, we have two profile information. So this is how website collects the information based on the login profile. Now I am logging in as a test user, and you can see the test user informations are displayed, right? So it knows the user's profile information based on his login detail. Then it will display the relevant information. Suppose, for example, the profile that is specific, that's useful for serving the information is age here, right? Based on that, if we have other preferences, we can store that. Now let's say that this user is logged out and there is one more user logging in, and the user is sample user, right? Password test123. Now I am logging in, and if you see, this time it is displaying the information specific for that user. And since we can retrieve the profile specific information for the user, the website can serve relevant information based on the previous collected data. So that's all here in this sub-series. You learned how to collect profile information and store that in the DB. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.